As part of We the People, celebrating 250 years, here's This Day in History. Proudly sponsored by American Family Insurance.
Party rolls on for America's 250th birthday. We are sharing our We the People series, the people, places, and things of the past that have shaped our country into what it is today. And today we're talking about one of the greatest athletes to ever live.
Yeah, swimmer Michael Phelps. On this day, July 31st, 2012, U.S. swimmer Michael Phelps won his 19th Olympic medal, becoming the most decorated Olympian of all time. He broke the record at the Summer Games in London after he won the men's 4x200 freestyle relay final. For 50 years, Soviet gymnast Larissa Latania, I believe that's how you say her name, held the title of the most decorated Olympian. She had 18 medals. In his Olympic career, Phelps would add a few more medals. He finished in 2016 during the Summer Games in Rio with a whopping 28 total medals, including 23 gold. And his record still stands today, even a decade after his retirement.
This is a man who's physiologically built different than the rest of us. Like his lung capacity.
He looks like a swimmer.
Yeah, he's long and lean. Yeah. His muscle density is just different, you know.
Yep.
It's like a whole I think his first Olympics too, I think he competed, he was 15.
And
15 years
a lot
old.
of those races weren't even close.
Right. Yeah, when he got in his peak of his athleticism, he couldn't be stopped.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty cool. All right. Thank you, Charlie.